When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Aloe or Allbirds, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does online business better than Shopify. It's home of Shop Pay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. That's shopify.com/income.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love, starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
Hi, this is Curl Bro, and I support GenXGrownUp on Patreon, and you should too. And if you don't, I hope you leave enough room for my fists, because I'm going to ram it in your stomach and break your spine. Just go to GenXGrownUp.com/Patreon to sign up today.
No life, no fun. Don't you know that you're a grown-up?
Gen X Grown Up is a YouTube channel, website, and audio podcast you're listening to right now. All made for and by people who love exploring media, games, tech, and toys of yesterday and today through the eyes of Gen Xers who refuse to grow up.
Your dinner cannot just be French fries. Basically, life sucks as a grown-up.
Welcome back, Gen X Grown Up podcast listeners, to this backtrack edition of the Gen X Grown Up podcast. I am John. Joining me, as always, of course, is George. Hey, man.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. Wouldn't be a show without Mo. Hey, Mo.
Hey, how's it going?
You know, in this episode, we are diving deep into the dungeon to celebrate 40 years of Gauntlet, the legendary arcade game that changed the way we played together. 4 players, endless enemies, and that unforgettable voice, Wizard needs food badly. We'll explore the origins of Gauntlet, the factors that led to its critical and financial success, and how it helped pave the way for the co-op games we love today. So grab a potion, steer clear of death, and let's journey back to 1985. Gauntlet turns 40 and it still rules the dungeon. Before we get into that, though, it is time, as always, for my favorite part of the show, 4th listener email. We love that you listen. We love that you write in. And this time around, the 4th listener for this episode is JL, who dropped us an email. The subject line is Green Machine Torture.
Okay.
And we're talking about some kid ride-ons not too long ago. So let's see what Jay says. Longtime listener and Patreoner. Thank you, Jay.
Thank
love
you
you for that. On the Rewind Summertime episode just released, I got the same friggin' toenail assault George did on his big wheel. Mine was on the green machine, though. I would stand on the back of my buddy's green machine, and just about every time he braked, it would pinch the shit out of my pinky toe. One scorching hot summer day in the suburbs of Los Angeles, I was on the back again, and my buddy's goal was to get the green machine up to 150 miles per hour, full brake, and then turn and try to flip it to see how far I would fly off of it. Sounds right up your alley, George. Some little brutality going on in their neighborhood. He said, that was our 10-year-old physics experiment. Problem was, I didn't fly anywhere except my pinky toe, and the one next to it got flattened in between the hot, melty black plastic tire and the metal brake.
Ouch.
Like George, toenail was nowhere to be found, and the second toe got dislocated, and it was at about a 45-degree angle to the left.
Ouch.
Still have a scar on it and a crooked toe. Every day in the shower, it reminds me of the best times of my life.
That's awesome.
He says, and John, the studio tour video was awesome too. Thanks for that, Jay. He wraps up by saying, have a great week, y'all. JL. That's
awesome.
Yeah. That's, I hadn't thought about that. I have a few scars that when I look at them go, I remember being a young, dumb kid, and that was a great day. Yep. Yeah. I have one caused by, those those pedals that are all jagged on your BMX bike.
Oh, yeah. The grippers.
The ones that grip your sneakers. Well, they also grip the back of your heel, I can tell you. I have a big scar back there from that. Makes me think. Jay, thank you for writing in. We love that you did. We appreciate it every time Force listener listens, but more importantly, takes the time to write in and let us know what they think about the show. If you'd like your email feature here on the show, it's drop dead easy. Just hit us up at podcast@GenXGrownUp.com. Read every single one, and most of them, like Jay's, will eventually make the show. Okay, time to head to the dungeon for Gauntlet right after this quick break.
What does every USAA member have in common? Family. We're one big family who supports the military community and their eligible families. And if you, your parent, or spouse served, you could join our family and save big on auto insurance. Visit USAA.com/join today to check your eligibility. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
You're listening to Gen X Grown Up. But if you have a friend who's not yet listening, why not? Tell them about us. They'll thank you later.
Gauntlet, the new fantasy adventure from Atari Games. The most fun a quarter can buy.
In this Backtrack episode, we are focusing on the 40th anniversary of the Atari arcade game Gauntlet. Now, if you're not familiar with Gauntlet, you're in the minority, but that's okay. We're going to tell you all about it. It was released, it's almost the 40th anniversary. Here in North America, it was released November 1985. UK, just a few weeks earlier in October of 1985. It was developed and released by Atari Games. Now, not to be confused with Atari Incorporated, which is the parent company that divested itself of the arcade section after the crash. And so it's Atari Games. They're the ones that continued to make arcade games like Road Blasters and stuff like that. But it was multiple companies at that time, but it's still Atari. So before we get into it, we're going to talk a little bit about the game. But before we do, I want to do a quick round robin and ask about your familiarity with the game. And I can start and tell you that in general, it wasn't my favorite game to play for more reasons we're going to talk about, but it was a comfort game for me, meaning if I walk in an arcade and I see a Gauntlet, probably pretty good arcade because they have some of the best games out there. And certainly I would play it plenty, but never got very far in it because, as we'll talk about later, it's kind of a quarter suck. So how about you, George? What's your familiarity with Gauntlet?
Yeah, I mean, so saw it in the arcades when I was, I guess I would have been about like 14 years old when it came out.
Perfect.
So that's when I was getting, quote, serious about games, at 14. I remember, I'll talk about some stuff later on in another segment, but I do remember the frustration with realizing very quickly that the game was only designed to continue playing as long as you kept shoveling money into it, because even if you don't get touched at all, not a single ghost or barbarian hits you or anything, your health is always declining, and once your health is zero, you're done. So it's literally just a timer, and the timer only gets sped up when bad things hurt you. Other than that, you put a quarter in, you get a specific amount of time, and I didn't like that part of it.
Yeah. What about you, Mo?
See, so this came out like right when I was going to college. So it was one of those games that after we came back for the summer, me and my friends, we got together and went to hit an arcade, and it was like one of the new machines that we saw there, which was pretty cool because, it was a 4-player, and again, it had that, like we talked about a little bit, had a little D&D vibe to it.
Right.
So, it was definitely one that I played. Now, I didn't play extensively. Like I said, it wasn't my favorite by any stretch, but it was definitely unique. It was one that we played. It was like in the rotation of games that we played. Right.
And you alluded to this just a second ago. This game is a dungeon crawler, and it's hard to think about a dungeon crawling game without looking at its connection to Dungeons and Dragons. And this has a pretty solid connection to D&D.
Oh, yeah. The designer, Ed Logg, one of the inspirations for it was his son was a big D&D player. He played Dungeons and Dragons, paper, and stuff like that. And you can definitely see it. I mean, you're going through a dungeon, you have a barbarian, you have a thief, you have a wizard. I mean, you definitely can see the tie-in to Dungeons & Dragons on this one. And it was also based on this other game that he used to play on the Atari 8-bit called Dandy. Now that I'm not familiar with. Did you guys play that one?
No.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit more later. There was quite a bit of consternation around Dandy.
Well, we should probably at least set the field with a description of the game for the 5 or 6 people who haven't seen it or played it that might also listen to this podcast. So Gauntlet is set within a series of top-down, third-person orthographic mazes where the object is to kill monsters, gather treasure, and find the exit in the level. Good luck with that, because you never know where the hell those sons of bitches are going to be. You get an assortment of special items that can be located throughout the level. Items can increase the player's health. So there goes the quarter suck a little bit. Unlock doors, award more points, yippee, and destroy all the enemies on the screen. That was a magic potion that would do that. Now,
that's right.
What I find very interesting, and I talked about this in a bit-by-bit episode a few weeks ago, you only got to see a part of the maze at a time. And your view would scroll as you moved around the maze. But somebody has come up with a hack for the original code that shows you the entire maze screen at once while you're playing. Cool? That makes it a hell of a lot of a different game.
That would change the whole game.
Absolutely.
Now I know where the exit is. It's right over there. I can see it. No more looking around. Well, you mentioned you're roaming around fighting enemies, and there were a lot of different kind of monsters in the game. And they were, just like you described, Mo, Dungeons & Dragons connection, they were pretty D&D-ish. You had ghosts, grunts, demons, lobbers, which you mentioned, George, who threw rocks at you, sorcerers, and thieves. So each kind of monster enters the level through a little generator, a little spawn house that you could also destroy. The most dangerous of all the enemies, though, was Death. Literally this little black character. Yes. Now you can only destroy him with a magic potion. Magic potion, and you mentioned one of the pickups, it's like a smart bomb, right? It destroys everything on screen. But just what's on screen, not what's just off screen.
Right.
They're still going to pour in on you, but those guys you can kill, Death can only be killed with one of those potions at all.
Or he disappears if he drains enough life.
Right. So if he gets enough of your life,
so you can still be alive,
costing you enough quarters, then he'll leave until the next time he's needed to further encourage you to put more money in.
There's $250 out of your pocket. There we go.
Thanks, Death.
And you mentioned the characters in this game. I mean, there's 4 different characters you can play.
Right.
There was a warrior named Thor, go figure. Merlin the wizard, no imagination again.
Right.
Thyra a Valkyrie, because they probably couldn't think of a Valkyrie. And Quester an elf, again, because they probably couldn't come up with a better name. And they said the names are actually on the cabinet artwork, but when you play the game, they're just called like Wizard, Valkyrie. They never actually said the names, which I thought was maybe because different countries or something. But each character, one thing that was kind of cool is that each character was different and you had to play them differently.
Sure.
The barbarian was very strong attack. The Valkyrie had, she was could take a lot of damage. The thief, I think, was the fastest one, and the wizard had like the ranged attack thing. And it really was a game that if you get people to play all 4 of the characters, that was your best shot, because then you could cover like a whole variety of different situations.
Right. Well, full complement. Exactly. Yeah. So do you guys have a favorite character? How about you, John? Did you have one? Yeah, I always was the wizard. I always like to be the wizard. Interesting. Because everybody attacks from a distance anyway. But the reason I like to play the wizard was because his magic was the best. He had strongest magic, so it would affect a little more than what's on the screen. And that meant that people playing with me would let me pick up the magic potion because they knew I could use it the best. And so it kind of, people would protect me because I had all the potions, and they would let me have the potions because that character could use them better. So it was kind of, I guess it was a little self-serving that I picked the wizard. It was just because when I played with multiple players, I was able to play the way I wanted.
How about you, George?
Valkyrie all day long.
Really?
Number 1, she was sexy. Number 2, she had the best armor, so her quarter suck was less than everybody else's.
True.
So I always played her, and I often played on my own. I mean, every now and then you'd meet somebody in the arcade that would want to play with you, but most of the time it was a 4-player game that you ended up playing by yourself.
Yeah, it happened a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite was definitely Thor, the warrior, just because he was the easiest to understand. just go there and attack. That's all you had to do, and try to get to the spawners and try to destroy those,
Right. And I don't know if other guys can or not, but he could do hand-to-hand combat. He could just walk into guys. Now they could still shoot him, but he could just walk up and do like melee damage. That was pretty cool. So,
that was my favorite.
We have a pretty good campaign here. The three of us, all different characters. So we just don't have an elf. Yeah. Now, one thing that I talked earlier about, warrior needs food badly, speech synthesis, and not just little noises like Hubert and not just a quick one-off, come play the game. It was laced throughout the game. It had a narrator that would occasionally say things. Now, the guy, I didn't know this, the guy's name was Ernie Facilius. He was the guy who did the voicing. So we've all impersonated him our whole lives and didn't know the guy. But he makes statements that repeat the game's rules like, shots do not hurt other players, or remember, don't shoot food, elves got the food, things like that. And he would occasionally comment on the game. By the way, if the editor is worth a damn, he'll put some of these voice samples in here. We have a crappy editor, so I hope he can find some of these samples. He'll say things like, I've not seen such bravery.
I've not seen such bravery.
Or, let's get you out of there when a player's life force is low.
Valkyrie needs food badly.
Ow!
Valkyrie, your life force is running out.
Something about having a narrator, it made you feel like you're in a movie a little bit, like somebody is out there going, oh, good job, you did this kind of thing. It was this encouragement that would keep pushing you forward. And who hasn't gone, elf needs food badly? That was a common, you would always hear, because you're always running low on elf.
Yeah. And it's also good because you tend to get wrapped up in what your character's doing. So it was nice to get these like audible clues like, oh crap, there's other people I need help.
Right. Mo was screwing up. He shot the health. He just told me that.
Originally this came out, of course, as we've talked about, as a 4-player cabinet, but later on they did develop a 2-player cabinet as they realized that it was harder and harder to get 4 people to shovel quarters into the game, especially 4 people who didn't know each other, because even though we might have gone to arcades with friends in the early 80s, you're talking about the mid 80s when this came out. I think fewer of us went to the arcades with a group of people at that point. I think we were more likely to go by ourselves, and maybe if we were lucky, meet our friends there if it was a local hangout. Sure. But if you were just going there just to play some games for a little while, you just didn't know the people. So a 2-player cabinet made sense. They made 7,800 of these cabinets and shipped them.
That's healthy. That's pretty healthy.
Yeah. And there's still quite a few out there today. We see them every year when we go to free play conventions like Free Play Florida or SFGE.
Right.
So Gauntlet is it's a pretty robust cabinet. It was well put together. It was also very profitable. You guys know I like the money end of things. So launched in 85 in North America. And it's hard to get stats for how profitable a cabinet is because there's 2 different ways, right? It's profitable to Atari when they sold it to a game center, right? To an arcade. That's one way it's profitable. But then the other way is, how did that arcade make its money back through putting quarters? Well, they didn't report those to anybody, right? I mean, not like, okay, 500 quarters came out of Hubert this week or whatever. But a couple of arcade operators did note that in the first few weeks, one in California got $15,000 in quarters in 16 weeks. So damn near $1,000 a week.
That's like 60,000 plays.
If they bought that machine, it might have paid for itself even. Holy crap.
I mean, that was kind of the point. Now that's good, but a Canadian operator did $4,500 US in 9 days.
Yeah.
I think he'd made a good purchase with that.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Good money. Yeah. It is like you said, it's well built. It's also, because it's so big, often it is like the corner or the end cap of aisles. So it's very visible. It's out there.
Or right in the middle.
You got to find a place to put that damn thing, right? It's enormous and it's very, very visible. Yeah. All right. So now we have a handle on what Gauntlet is. If you were catching up, now you know what it's all about. We get back, we're going to talk a little bit more about that dandy we talked about and if the high scores even matter. Stick around.
On WhatsApp, no one can see or hear your personal messages. Whether it's a voice call, message, or sending a password. To WhatsApp, it's all just this. So whether you're sharing the streaming password in the family chat or trading those late-night voice messages that could basically become a podcast, your personal messages stay between you, your friends, and your family. No one else. Not even us. WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone.
Introducing the new Volvo XC90 with 7-seat versatility, Google built-in, and advanced safety features for all your precious cargo. The new Volvo XC90, designed for life. Visit volvocars.com/US to learn more.
Be sure to subscribe to or follow Gen X Grown Up wherever you listen. And while you're there, rate and review the show too. It helps more than you know.
How can you get all the thrills of Gauntlet 2 to your very own home? Simple. Just pick up the new NES version, Gauntlet 2, with all the graphics, sound, and features of the arcade original. Welcome, Red Warrior. From Mindscape.
So I mentioned in the last segment that it was also based on a game called Dandy that I wasn't that familiar with, but you kind of alluded there was more to that story.
There is, yeah. There's lawsuit potential in the story even. So after Gauntlet got released, this software developer named John Palovich threatened a lawsuit asserting that the concept for Gauntlet was based on his game he wrote called Dandy. Now, you've probably never heard of Dandy. I was an Atari 8-bit nerd, so I absolutely played Dandy. It was among the games I pirated. Absolutely it was. So my big Atari 800 had 4 controller ports in the front. So you could play 4 people at one time on some games if they supported it. Dandy was written by John Palovich to support 4 people. It was a top-down view of a little smiley face, navigating a maze, shooting monsters that had spawn points, picking up health. You could play up to 4 people at once. It's Gauntlet.
Yeah.
He published it through an Atari program they had called APX, the Atari Program Exchange. It's where we got games like Caverns of Mars and Salmon Run.
Okay.
It was homebrew authors, basically, people who write in programs on their home computer. They would send them off and submit them to Atari, and if they liked them, they would give them a little light distribution, right? So Atari got a free game, you got some recognition, a little money, and a prize. So he'd written this and sent it to Atari in good faith. And then Gauntlet comes out. So he released this in 1983.
Oh, wow.
2 years later, Gauntlet came out, and it's 4 players, it's top-down maze, it's shooting monsters, it's picking up food, it's all that. So there wasn't ultimately a lawsuit because he had a relationship with Atari working through the Apex program, the APX. So it turns out the conflict was settled with no suit being filed. But Atari Games, doing business as Tengen later, they allegedly award Palovich a Gauntlet game machine as an apology.
Is that all he got?
Maybe more. I don't know. There's no lawsuit. Maybe they came to an agreement.
If he put it in an arcade, he might have made $15,000 in 16 weeks.
You make your money back.
So maybe.
Yep. So, yeah. So Ed Logg claimed writing Gauntlet. He was clear. It's hard to argue he was not inspired by Dan. He said that he played on his Atari 8-bit computer, so clearly he did it. In fact, Ed Logg was credited with a special thanks on all versions of Gauntlet through 86, and then removed on credits later, as late as 2007, though. No one references Logg as having involvement with it because there's a little tarnish on who invented it. So rather than thanking Logg over and over, they just said, it was never really argued in court. We're just going to not thank anybody as the originator, but we all know the history. So that was it. Dandy, by the way, later got reworked by Atari and published for the 2600, 7800, 8-bit computers as a game called Dark Chambers, which you've probably heard of. It's been a lot of re-releases lately from Atari. It's been a lot of compilations. It's a dungeon crawler, very much like Dandy and like Gauntlet. So, yeah. So it's really interesting. And it's nice that it didn't come to a lawsuit, but I've had to feel bad that the guy didn't get more of a settlement, or at least nothing that was reported.
Maybe he did. He just didn't publicize it.
Maybe so. Yeah.
Well, one of the other things we like to do with video game discussions on these podcasts is we like to talk about high scores. And high scores were a way that 1980s kids tracked how good they were with a game. And the quintessential place to find high scores for video games for a long, long time has been Twin Galaxies. We know there's a lot of ups and downs with the Twin Galaxies stories. Walter Day started it, and there's the whole Billy Mitchell saga and everything. It's now owned by a guy named Jace Hall, who is a complete dick. By the way,
really, how you feel about it,
not a limp, flaccid, partial one. I mean, just a complete,
yeah, not just a part of it. The whole thing.
He's the whole thing.
And I'll say that because I went looking for high scores because, like, it's one of the things I have to do research on for this. Sure enough, Twin Galaxies Gauntlet high score page. I click the link. You must log in.
Just to see a high score?
You can't just look at the results?
You can't just look at a score? Oh,
not anymore.
What?
So I'm like, okay, let me create an account. It's probably free. No big deal. I go to create an account and I'm like, okay, here's my username. Here's a password I choose. Okay, yeah, you can have my email, blah, blah, blah. Check the little, I understand all the shit I'm never going to read in the EULA agreement thing. Button still not highlighted. The submit button won't let me click it. What the fuck? They want my phone number?
Why do you
the hell do they want my
check
phone
high
number
scores?
for?
Come on.
Okay, fine. Here's my phone number. Still not clickable.
What's wrong?
Okay, what bullshit is this page trying to keylog me or some shit? I don't know what the hell's going on here.
Right.
And then I look next to email and next to phone number, there's 2 buttons. Verify. I have to verify my phone number and my email before I can submit to have an account on Twin Galaxies just to view high scores now.
That's a lot of work to check high scores on
That
Gauntlet.
seems a little excessive.
Yeah.
So guess what I didn't do? So I just did a little quick Google AI research. Looks like that the current high score was set by a guy named MRK, and he set it in 2016. There's a video that was put out on the Twin Galaxies YouTube page in 2023 that shows a score of 5,615,337 points that he reached as a single player game playing the Wizard for almost 11 hours.
Whoa.
On 1 quarter, technically?
That's the question.
Know.
Right?
It's
That's the
Twin
question.
Galaxies paywall bullshit. Right. I can't tell you what that means. I can't imagine that it's on 1 quarter. And I'll tell you why. I don't think that's possible to play for that long, because even if you get all the food products and you don't get touched by a single creature, which I find highly unlikely in a single player Gauntlet game,
right?
You're losing life as a matter of time. The quarter to life ratio was set specifically for you to only be able to play for a specific amount of time on 1 quarter. And to me, if you're playing this now for a Twin Galaxies high score, what prevents you from ever finishing? Now, he did reach level 311, apparently.
Wow.
I would never even attempt to go that high. So to me, this is less of a high score and more of an endurance challenge.
Yeah. And what's odd is when I think back to Gauntlet, how I never considered the high score to be a goal I was pushing toward. I didn't check the high score.
Yeah.
I didn't see how close I was to it. I never remembered, did I put my name in? Maybe if it asked me, I don't recall. But the thing is, like you said, first, you're on a clock, so it's pay to win. As many tokens as you choose to put in, you can keep adding health. As long as you do that, your score never resets.
Yeah.
Now, if you run out of health and start over, yes, your score resets, but you can keep the score running as long as you're willing to pay for it.
It gives you a couple seconds too after you die. It's like 10 seconds.
Right. I've got to think that this high score has got to have some limit on it. 1 token, 5 tokens, 10 tokens, something for a metric. Otherwise, it would be infinite. I don't remember caring about the high score on this game either.
Yeah, it's like levels, right? You want to see how many levels.
How far can I get?
How many levels
can I
you
see?
can get?
Yeah. And they had warps. Like you could jump to level 4 or 8.
Now, that would be an interesting metric. Yeah, like if you could say how many levels completed on $1 or something like that.
Right.
That would be an interesting metric. But yeah, so Gauntlet, not the best to look for high scores, and fuck Jace Hall. So there we go.
Okay.
I remember, I have one of the home arcade cabinets that I built that you've all played on at my house at one time or another. And I had a friend visiting from out of town. He's, I love Gauntlet. Let's play it. I'm like, infinite quarters. He's like, I can't wait. And after 30 minutes, we're like, can we quit yet?
Right.
Because when it's infinite quarters, it's nowhere near as entertaining. You just barrel into monsters because you don't care.
Right.
You can just keep playing, keep fighting, more credits. 10 more credits. I don't care. It doesn't cost me anything. Without the penalty of death, the challenge of using skill is entirely removed. And so as a kid, I couldn't afford to play that way. But as an adult, I'm kind of glad I was limited in that way because it would have made the game less memorable, less enjoyable.
Yeah, it was like that time you played Rampage. Remember?
Yes.
I was going to bring it up. This is just like Rampage.
Yeah, it's just like Rampage, where it was fun for a bit, but then when you have infinite lives, it's like more of the same.
We're in Detroit again. Yeah. Let's see how we can do.
Okay,
right? It becomes less challenge. Yeah. You don't care.
Or less interesting. I mean, it's just, you don't care.
Yeah. I'm glad Gauntlet was what it was. In the past, I wished it was less punishing, but now in hindsight, it turns out you need that punishment to keep you trying to get better at the game. Otherwise, what's the point?
The Nordstrom Anniversary Sale is on now. Shop new arrivals on sale for a limited time from Madewell, Bobbi Brown, New Balance, and more. You'll find tons of deals under $100 on summer-ready fits, plus beauty exclusives from your favorite brands. Nordstrom makes shopping easy in stores, at Nordstrom.com, and on their app. Hurry, prices go up August 4th.
Shh. Hear that? Big waves are calling. Dive into refreshment with Kona Big Wave. Tropical flavor and the taste of aloha in every drop. This summer, don't just listen. Join Kona on the Big Wave Bonfire Tour. More information at konabigwave.com/bigwavemusic. Kona Big Wave. Liquid aloha. Copyright 2025 Kona Brewing Co., St. Louis, Missouri. Mahalo for enjoying responsibly.
Each episode of Gen X Grown Up has show notes loaded with links where you can learn more about our topics. And there's even more to see and hear over at GenXGrownUp.com.
Some things are just better to do with other people. Like Gauntlet Legends for Nintendo 64.
Oh, I like to call that my little something special.
Where the more people you get to play.
Go Wizards, get busy, it's the birthday. There you go. You see? This is how I play.
The more chance you stand to survive.
Who's your daddy? Who is your daddy?
Well, as you might have been able to tell from the last segment, I have some strong opinions about this game. And I also have some strong childhood memories of going to play Gauntlet in the arcade. And the thing that I remember the most is what I alluded to earlier, that at that stage of my life, I wasn't necessarily going to the arcade with a group of friends. I was generally going just by myself. And I would end up making or meeting a friend, as young people often do in those situations, because you don't have the same hangups you do as a early 20-year-old maybe, or something like that. When you're younger and you're in an arcade where everybody is there to have fun, you all share that camaraderie. And Gauntlet was a game that would bring people together that had the similar mindset of, you know, let's play this game. Let's do the best we can. Let's get to level 12 or 20 or 40 or whatever we can do. And very quickly, on one occasion, I remember making a really good friend that I stuck with throughout the next 2 or 3 years worth of arcade gameplay and travel. And his name was Jeff. He was a super good guy. We got to know each other real well. We got our driver's licenses at roughly the same time, a year or so later. Cool. And we would often talk about how the game that brought us together, which was Gauntlet, we didn't play together after those first few sessions because it just, like we talked about a little while ago, it becomes unfun very quick because you recognize that your skill level has nothing to do with that game. If you give me a quarter in Galaga, I can play that shit for hours. But if you give me a quarter in Gauntlet, I've got a set limited amount of time, and it was never worth the value after those first initial plays when the game first got released. So for me, I appreciate Gauntlet for introducing me to a new friend, but I don't really like Gauntlet that much.
Yeah, understandable. Yeah, it changed as you got older. For you, was it? It was a facilitator, but then it was more fun games and games that get more bang for your buck too.
Absolutely. Yeah. What about you, Mo? You got any memories from Gauntlet back in the day?
I mean, because it came out, like you said, I was away at college when it first came out, and I still remember this. Like first summer, we came back from my freshman year of college, got back with my two best friends I hadn't seen most of the time, and who we used to hit arcades constantly. That was our thing, right? So let's go hit an arcade. And we went there, and Gauntlet was there, which was like one of the first times we saw a game that all three of us could play at the same time. You know, because usually it's only two players, so all three of us were able to play. It was a little bit bittersweet though, because it was like we kind of realized that thrill of going to arcade was like not as as big as it was, before he went to college.
Oh no.
Right.
We kind of came back. We played for a while, but then we're like, hey, let's go get pizza, and,
right.
And, we went going there and just talking. And, that was actually
right
more what we want to do than play arcade games like we used to do. I don't know. Maybe we matured. I don't know. Got older. Who knows?
That's ridiculous.
I know.
That's a waste of time.
Crazy.
Maturing. Who does that?
But the thing was that I still remember distinctly that we went to the arcade and Gauntlet, like you said, George, front and center because it needed all that space around it for 4 people to play. And we did play it like quite a bit. And we, again, we went to the arcade a few times that summer, but every time we went back, we definitely played Gauntlet.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, John?
Yeah, probably my strongest memory of Gauntlet. I mean, the things you mentioned, of course, you meet people in the arcade and you play it and you play with your friends all together if you happen to have friends at the same point. But really, it's like a flashpoint in my mind. If I think of the game Gauntlet or I play it or anything, the immediate thing that pops in my head is a memory of, for whatever reason. So, Walt Disney World has this monorail that goes between the ticket counter and the main park, the Magic Kingdom. And on the way, it goes through the Contemporary Hotel.
Yeah.
Now, I've never stayed at the Contemporary Hotel, but a friend of mine who his mom worked there or something said, dude, they have the best arcade at the Contemporary Hotel. Well, I had no way of knowing that because I'd never been there other than roll through it on a monorail. I never stepped foot inside of it. He's like, yeah, if you want to come with me, we can go. Have your mom give you some money for quarters and we'll go with my mom to work one day and we'll hang out in the Contemporary because there are places you can do things for free in there. It's a hotel, and kids being wild.
It's Disney, yeah.
And I remember we said, where's the arcade? And it's a huge open area, like a cavern. Yeah. And it must have been, 4 stories tall, the ceiling. It was enormous. And the arcade was filled. And Disney doesn't do anything halfway, right? No. So if they've got Galaga, they got 17 Galagas. If they've got Donkey Kong, they got a dozen. They had, and you would see them like you would say like 4 Donkey Kongs around a pillar, right? They put them all together. So it's really impressive. I remember seeing this cluster. I came around the corner of this arcade, a cluster of gauntlets. It was rare to see 2 gauntlets in the same arcade, let alone 4 of them. So they had 4 gauntlet machines and they all had a space around them. So they're in this big open area. And they were full. There were so many people there playing Gauntlet. Jeez. It was the biggest collection of gauntlets I ever saw in one place. It was the most people I ever saw actually on them at the same time because the hotel was full and tourists and people there to waste time, right? So that one time at the Contemporary that I spent, maybe 6 hours or whatever, during his mom's work, but we got to spend time in this enormous arcade. Now, it wasn't free. It wasn't like free play, like something you could do, but there were tons and tons of gauntlets there. So when I think about it, it's not so much the playing of Gauntlet, it's the time that I actually saw a bunch of them together in Wild at the same place, and that was at the Disney Resort. So Gauntlet has a long and storied legacy. We get back from this quick break. We're going to share a little bit of that with you before we get out of here. Stick around.
Hey, it's Paris. I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
9 años pidiendo el Snack Wrap. Aquí tienes tu Snack Wrap. ¿Tú quieres un Snack Wrap? Toma tu Snack Wrap. ¿Tú también? Toma un Snack Wrap. Snack Wrap, Snack Wrap, Snack Wrap. Volvió el Snack Wrap. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
If you're a die-hard Gen X grown-up, you can pledge your support by clicking join on YouTube or by becoming a patron at GenXGrownUp.com/Patreon.
You think I'm pretty? I am not. I am? Well, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how pretty do you think I am? 92? Oh, come on, you're embarrassing me. Hold on, I got another call. Hello?
Some things are just better to do with other people. Like Gauntlet Legends, where the more people you get to play, the more chance you stand to survive.
I've been voted prettiest girl in America? I have not.
Like you mentioned, John, I mean, this game has a long legacy.
Mm-hmm.
It won't die. Definitely made an impact.
Yeah.
And just think about all the ports that it went to, all the different computer systems that it went to. We mentioned some of them, but they even had an MS-DOS version, if you can believe it. Terrible. Apple II, Mac, Nintendo Entertainment, Apple II, Atari ST, Commodore 64. I mean, pretty much if there was a computer system out at that time, this game was ported to it.
Yeah, yeah. And some of them were, it's funny that it made it back to the Atari 8-bit home computer where Dandy was that copied it.
Right.
It's funny.
Ports weren't the only way that this game's legacy has been upheld over the years. Of course, if you do something right in an industry, you're going to do it again, right? Hollywood's always about sequels, and so are video games. So we get Gauntlet 2 in 1986. So just 1 year later, they couldn't even wait. It was like, stick a 2 on the sticker on the outside and put some different colors on it. And there you go. We got another game out there. But after that, that was kind of when arcades were really starting to fade.
Yeah.
Mo, you talked about coming back from college and not really being interested in arcades. John, you and I met in 91.
Yeah.
We didn't go to arcades at all in that time period because we were in the Star Trek Club. We just did stuff where? At home
with our computers.
And that's where a lot of these other Gauntlet sequels started coming out. So you got 1990 Gauntlet, The Third Encounter on home console. You got 91 Gauntlet 3, The Final Quest. Obviously it wasn't. You got Gauntlet 4, The Search for Spock, or what the fuck ever that would have been. 1998, I kind of remember this one because it was back in an arcade again in 1998, Gauntlet Legends. And I remember seeing this cabinet.
Yes, for sure.
And I was like, what? What's legendary? It's the same 4 fucking characters. What did they do in that time period? Then you got Gauntlet Dark Legacy, Gauntlet 7 Sorrows in the arcade.
Never heard of that.
You got a 2014 Gauntlet home console reboot because, when you run out of sequels, you need to reboot
Start
the
over,
franchise.
of course. Yeah.
Right? And from there, it's just really been just reissues and remasters and things of that nature. So it's been a long storied history of ports and sequels, but at least the franchise has kept people entertained and interested for the better part of, 40 years now since this thing came out?
That's right.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And we talked about how it really is an unfair game, how it's constantly ticking down your life all the time. Now, I don't know. You said there's no skill involved. I'm guessing maybe super uber people know how to get to the food and maximize. It still feels to me like it's a losing proposition. But so I have a couple of cheats for you from my database of arcade game cheats that you can use. Now, the good news is they'll work 100% every time. The bad news is they cost you health to do.
What? Oh, geez.
Yep. So mentioned on the game, there's all these walls in the map that you have to, they're doors that if you get a key, it unlocks all these doors. Or if you touch it, you have a key.
Right.
Yeah.
If, however, you're having trouble finding the key, if you will stand still and not do anything for 40 health units to tick down, which is probably about 40 seconds. It's probably about 1 per second.
Something like that. Yeah.
Every door disappears in the game. It's wide open. They just insta unlock.
You have to wait till you're just about to die?
Not die. You just have to tick down 40 health units. So you're 40 units lower in health than you were, but it magically unlocks all the doors. No keys needed. So I remember learning that one as a kid. I didn't know the second one, but the benefit to that one is if you have a key, you can wait for the doors to unlock on their own and you still have a key to use later. So a little benefit like that. The other one that it's kind of not worth it. So depending on dip switches will determine how many health points you get for a quarter. I feel like it was 800, 1,000, 1,200. I don't know how many would you get. But just like with the waiting 40 health units to get all the doors to disappear, if you stand still and don't take any damage for 185 health units, which I gotta guess is like 3 minutes, the way it ticks down at 1 per second, every wall turns into an exit. Every wall in the entire maze, and you just walk into it. So if you're sick of this particular level, if you wait like 3 minutes, the exits will all just manifest instantly. You touch one, and you moved on. I never found that one out when I was a kid, but I can't imagine why you would bake that one in other than just to cost people money to try it.
I mean, I don't think you can stand and not take damage for 3 minutes.
I was because
first of all, you've stood there for 40 seconds and all the walls have disappeared.
Yeah.
Right?
So why? Yeah.
all the beasts are coming at you.
Yeah, well, the doors
So it's
disappeared. Right. So maybe you could find a corner. It would be tricky. It'd be tricky. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, they're going to find you.
So next time you're there, especially if you're at a free play arcade, does it cost you anything? Try them out and see. Find a Gauntlet and just stand around and see what happens. And now you know there's something to see, even if you're terrible at this game. If you suck at it, you never had fun with it, try it the next time you see it, because you can try these 2 tricks out. So clear the walls, everything's at exit. All you got to do is nothing. It was super easy.
That's weird. Yeah, that's odd.
It is odd. Yeah. I'm not sure why you would do that, but they did it. They added whatever, Edlog. All right. All right, gentlemen, I think that wraps it up for our backtrack all about the arcade game Gauntlet on its 40th anniversary. I've had a hell of a good time chatting with you. Before we leave, I want to thank another Patreon supporter. This time is one of those upgrades.
Oh, wow.
You guys remember Brad B. He also goes by Zork on our YouTube channel and over on Discord and everywhere. Now, Brad has been up and down. He's had financial hardships and windfalls and stuff. And he often will say, man, I got to drop out of Patreon, or I got to drop it back to a lower number or whatever. You know what he does? Every time things get better for him, he comes back and he re-ups his membership. You know, he was at just $1 a month or whatever. So just a couple of months ago, he came back and goes, hey, things are shaping up a little bit. I'm going to bump it up to where I feel like supporting you. Brad, nobody has to do that. Nobody's got to do that. You're supporting us already. And to say, hey, I can afford to support you a little bit more, it's so incredibly generous and humbling to me that you would think that, hey, I'm doing better, you should do better too. What a guy. What a guy. Brad, thank you for the increase in our salary from you. We're really grateful for that regular monthly pledge. You, like so many other members, have gone to patreon.com/GenXGrownUp, opened up their hearts and their wallets, set up that regular monthly pledge for as little as $1 a month. That's all it takes. And we're so grateful for you when you do. It means the world to us. That is then going to wrap it up for this backtrack edition of the show. Don't worry, though. We'll have another one coming your way in 2 weeks. Next week is the standard edition of our show. Until then, I am John. George, thank you so much for being here, brother.
Yes, sir.
Mo, you know I appreciate you, man.
Always fun.
Fourth listener, it's you we all appreciate most of all, though. We can't wait to talk to you again next time around. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Take care, everybody.
No life, no fun. Don't you know that you're a grown-up?
GenXGrownUp is a member of the Evergreen Podcast family. Learn more at evergreenpodcasts.com.
No more watching shows till sunrise. Unacceptable for grown-ups. Your dinner cannot just be french fries. Basically, life sucks as a grown-up.
I gave you a lot there, George. Thank you.
That's fine. It's just words. Click the link that brought me to it. It brought me to a login page.
See if I see anything different. Yeah, login page. What the fuck?
Yeah, no matter which one, Gauntlet 2, Gauntlet.
All right, well, let me quickly register.
That's what I was about to do.
Oh, were you? Okay. You need the data, so I'll register too, because it could be fun. But
They have to register now? That's crazy.
yeah, just to see stuff, it seems odd.
You got to put in a phone number? Fuckers.
Really?
Oh, they're requiring it?
Yeah.
That's
1-800.
Wonder if they're having trouble with like people
And I
spamming.
still
or
can't
something.
hit the submit button. The submit button is still grayed out. I have to verify both the email and the password before I can submit. No,
That's
Wow.
ridiculous.
That's
Should
what
try
we'll
ask-
be
just
talking
ask
about
AI.
when we get to the high score part.